Yeah, we're back on track, baby. Let's keep it that way. Tremors 5 Bloodlines was released in 2015. That's 11 years since the last one. And 25 years after the first. No, 24 years after. 25 years after the first one. 1990, right? Or 1991. I'm getting confused. A long ass time. And we have Michael Gross back again. I'm guessing he's going to be the returning character in all of them. I'm pretty sure he is. As the lead, I mean. And this film is awesome. Holy shit, this film is awesome. Um, the only thing that the first one has rivaling this film and probably is better is the classicness of it and being the original, like the OG. But this film is freaking awesome and a great return to the Tremors franchise, and everything is just enhanced in every way. And it is a B movie. I mean, we're dealing with B movie territory here, so it's not like fucking a blockbuster. It's not Jaws or anything, for fuck's sakes. But this is like B movie glory. It's fun. It doesn't stop. It's packed with action. It has high enough of a budget to make everything look amazing. Yeah, it's got a lot of CGI in it, but there is some moments where they throw in some practical effects in here too. And this seems like a franchise that's really has its heart in its place when it comes to the CGI, like, or sorry, the practical effects. Yeah, they use CGI because you kind of have to in a B movie, and it's cheaper sometimes. Obviously, like in a lot of aspects, there's like you need to use CGI for the budget you have. But they do it well with the CGI, and they put practical effects well when needed too. So it's not like a sci-fi film that just relies on CGI, and I like how they have that respect for practical effects and respect to the monsters, because this is a monster movie, and it's a monster movie well done. It's a monster franchise well done. But anyways, Burt Grummer's back, and he has a survivalist show, and because this is 2015, there's more like modern familiar references. I mean, they mention Twitter in here. They even make a Breaking Bad reference in here. Um, he has this survivalist show on like YouTube, and he's Burt Gummer the survivalist or something like that. And he's like, I've always been known as a gun enthusiast, monster hunter, doomsday prepper, but I reject all those labels. I am a survivalist. And at one point, he's like cooking snake, and he builds like a whole stone clay oven that he explains how he built it in like such a short amount of time. And this oven he cooks steak in, and he has all these like sauces and marinades. It's just ridiculous. It's like one of those like nature channel kind of survival shows kind of thing, and it's well done. It's hilarious. They open up the movie with it like before the opening credits, and I like how they did that a lot. It was really funny. We have a new character named Travis, and Travis is like an adventurer essentially, and he crosses paths with Burt Gummer, and he's always been a Burt Grummer fan. I don't know. I wrote down Grummer, but it might be Gummer. I'm not 100% sure. I should look that up again. He's an adventurer, and he's like a loudmouth, and he's a sarcastic dude, and he's hilarious. He rides a dirt bike, and he crossed this path with Burt, and he's been a long time fan. He's heard of Burt like through like growing up kind of thing, so he loves this guy. And then they decide to join Pats because there ends up being ass blasters in South Africa. So they discover those, and Bert, of course, knows that if there's ass blasters, there's going to be graboids. So the infestation has gotten there somehow, and they head down there to, fight off graboids in South Africa. They get there though, and Bert's guns are like confiscated because African laws or whatnot, and he has to use the guns that they provide him, but they're not etiquette for the job by any means. And the graboids, and especially the ass blasters, because they're like kind of the main creature in this movie, are like evolved, and they're bigger and badder because like one of the characters says in the movies, everything's bigger in Africa. And they look badass. When they introduce that first ass blaster, holy shit. It looks amazing. Like it's huge, and the fire that comes out of their asses look better. Like it's actual, like it looks like flames. Maybe some of them are practical too, but they look more realistic than the cheesy ass flames and all the clear CGI that was being used in the third film. And I know that was in the 90s, so that's what you're expecting, kind of thing. Here it looks awesome. It looks as close to like a real movie as you can get, as close to like a summer blockbuster as you can get. There's a ton of gore in this movie. Like there's good gore, and everything feels so much more like mature and like horrific and realistic. Like it tones down the goofy a little bit, enough for you to have like care and emotion for all the characters and everything. All the characters are great. You get this woman named Nandi. She's a nurse, and she has a daughter named Amala. And there's like a lot of this film takes place in like an African village. There's a lot of like tribal dances and tribal folk, and the atmosphere and the the setting, I guess, that you're taking place. I love films like that take place in Africa, period. But like South Africa is just such a good place to take the Grabbers franchise because it's very dry and desert like, also, but you get so much more to it, and everything is just such bigger scale. I love it. The throwbacks to Jurassic Park are insane in this movie. They don't hide away from that shit whatsoever. They almost recreate scenes from Jurassic Park. It's kind of weird. The beginning scene of Jurassic Park where they're digging up the fossils, they do it in this movie kind of the same, where they're digging up like graboid bones, and like the music is very reminiscent of Jurassic Park, and it's just so, it's such a wink that it's so like almost being recreated. And then they also recreate the scene in Jurassic Park where the raptors are chasing the two kids in that like kitchen or back kitchen or whatever, where the raptor like taps his claw on the floor. They do it. One of the ass blasters taps its claw on the floor, and the way everybody's hiding in that room is so similar to that scene in Jurassic Park that it's so like it's more than a nod. It's kind of like a copy, but I ate all that shit up. Nandi, her weapon of choice is a bow and arrow. You don't get many Tomb Raider vibes in this one, but the way Nandi looks with her bow and arrow, she's very, very Lara Croft in the new films, like the Alicia Vikander style. And I think the games have been out when this film was released, so maybe that was done on purpose. I don't know. But she's really good. She's an awesome character. You care a lot about her, and you care a lot about her daughter, too. And then there's this guy named Baruti, and it's funny because through the whole film, this guy Baruti is basically in love with Nandi, but so is Travis. So they're always in competition for getting at Nandi and like keeping the other away from Nandi. And at one point, I think it's Baruti who brings out his gun, and he's like, "Don't worry, Nandi, I will protect you." And he has his handgun, and then Travis is right beside him and brings out a revolver, and he's like, "I'm not going anywhere either." So they're having like this gun measuring contest or dick measuring contest, and that part really got to me. There's this scene on a bridge where this ass blaster attacks, and one of the villagers or one of the people working with Travis and Bert at this point gets killed, and such a gory and violent scene like in that one. And it's at night. It takes place at night too, and I think it's raining too, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, when the thing takes off and the flames coming out of its ass, I know that thought is hilarious, but it actually looks like thrilling and very action forward. One of the guys in the car on the bridge says to Bert, he's like, "You're like freaking Rambo." And this film is filled with replaced swear words. So instead of fuck, they'll say freaking and what the F. Even Travis busts out, "You're Bert effing Grummer," and like, what the F is going on? It's like, unless you're making this film for TV, I don't see why it can't have an R rating. Or you can even have a PG-13 rating and drop in a couple F-bombs. You're still allowed to do so, but yeah, there's no swearing in this movie. Everything is like abbreviated kind of thing. One guy is shooting an ass blaster with a dart. Why a dart? I have no idea, but he's like, "Say hello to my dart, bitch." Scarface reference. There's a character named Eric Van Vyck. I think I pronounce it Van Vyck. There's a running joke on how you pronounce his name in the movie anyway, but this guy ends up being the villain of the story. What happens is he wants to steal ass blaster eggs or graboid eggs to sell on the black market, and Burt Grummer is aiming to stop him from doing so, kind of thing. But because he takes these eggs, and because the daughter Amala gets her hands on one of them too, the graboids basically aren't going away because they're very territorial to their eggs, pretty much, and that's where all the danger in the movie comes in, kind of thing. There's a scene in the climax that involves Amala, and because she has an egg on her, and it takes place in the village, but there's this whole like snake pit idea going on. The graboids' tongues they evolved, so now the tongues are able to come out of the graboid and move around on their own, so you have like a snake danger situation. I really like that. And I like how these films, other than the dumbass fourth one, begins to evolve on the graboids. It's a really great idea. That's why I really didn't appreciate the fourth one so much too, because it's just going such a step back. But anyways, continuing with the fifth, like you have the second that bring in the Shriekers, the third bring in the Ass Blasters, and this one evolves them all, and separates the tongues from the graboids. Genius. And then you have this whole like snake pit situation going on with Amala in the middle, and they're trying to save her. So good. So good. Travis is hilarious. I loved his one-liners. They're just so funny. He's chirping Bert out about his like shaved head, because Bert now shaves his head because he's lost his hair, and this is like years after. And he's like, "What I do with my cranium is none of your business." And he's like, "Yeah, you've been watching a lot of Breaking Bad, trying to stick with the modern times. You going a little pit bull on us?" So yeah, he's a jerk, funny ass jerk, and yeah, with what's her name, Nandi. Travis is like, "Ooh, you're like," he's like trying to hit on her. He's like, "You're like pumpkin spice latte except African." it's hilarious. I love Travis. Travis is definitely one of the best comic reliefs in this franchise, hands down. And his partnership with Bert is awesome. And then, because this is a spoiler review, and I'm spoiling these movies a little bit. The reveal is meh, but it's kind of funny at the same time, where Travis ends up, if you don't want spoilers, pause this part or something. I put spoilers in the title though, so whatever. Travis is Bert's son, a long lost son kind of thing that Bert had with a woman he hooked up with in the 70s or something in Florida. Now I thought that I thought this was going to be really cool, because I thought that they were going to bring back the woman from the second movie, the one that Bert fell in love with, in like the supermodel that he had on the poster, and then he met her in real life and didn't put the two together, but it ended up being her. I thought it was going to be revealed that this guy Travis is their son, but he looked like he was in his 40s, so that wouldn't make too much sense, because he would have been like early 20s if that were the case, if anything. But it ended up being just some random woman named Jasmine, I think, that he hooked up with in Florida, and then he never knew he had a son, and Travis ends up being his son. And Travis always aspired to be like his father, like the great Burt Grummer. So it was cool, it was neat, a little cheesy, a little corny, and a little forced, kind of. But it was cool that they threw that in. I like when Bert is trapped in the cage, because Eric puts him in the cage, and he's being a survivalist, and they have so much urine jokes and pee jokes in that part. He pisses in whatever container, and then he rubs it all over himself, because apparently it's an insect repellent. It's so disgusting watching him like rub piss all over himself. And then I think he drinks it at some point too, which is really fucking gross. It's suggested to be that, but ugh. And then a lion comes along, and the lion pisses all over his face too. So there's that. So a lot of urine shit going on. There's this guy named Joanne, and he drops this line. He's like, I think he says it to the ass blaster. He's like, "You can't kill me. I'm African." And he does this like click sound. He's like, "Nah, nah," or something like that. I'm like, is that supposed to be like a gun, or because Africans click, or like, what are you trying to say here? It was such a random line, and I can't even like imitate the sound he made. But when Amala and Baruti are in that room, and it's all very reminiscent of the raptor scene in Jurassic Park. Nandi comes in with a bow and arrow, and she kills the graboid that are trying to attack them, and they're holding the graboid off with a table, and she throws two arrows through the graboid and through the table, and it just almost like barely misses Baruti's crotch, and the arrows are like this far away from his crotch. It's really funny. Bert is being Bert's self and extremely stereotypical, and pretty much every single person he comes across, he asks if they're from the government. Every time. You with the government? You with the government? The government send you? The government send you? I love his paranoia and his like conspiracy mentality. It's just so, so funny. Bert's the best. Bert's such a good character to keep this franchise going, and him with Travis just worked really, really well. And even him being older, he's still like badass, and he still has like the figure and the shape and the agility to do everything he does, and he's very believable as like a veteran badass. I just love that shit. He's a total like veteran doomsday prepper, literally, or survivalist, as he says in the movie. So really, really, really fun entry, and this could be my favorite in the franchise. Like I said, it can't overthrow the first because it's the first, but other than that, it's right on par. It'll certainly probably be the film that I'll watch the most so far, because this is the most fun and most entertaining. I can say that. Not the best, because the OG's the OG. It just is what it is. But other than that, this is the best in the franchise so far. It's the one I'll probably watch the most, like I said. Very easily. So that's Tremors 5 Bloodlines. I loved it. It was a great time, and I can't wait for number 6. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you'd like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I will be back more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.